part of the reason, but a lot more gas coming in, a lot more minerals right now for VTSwu.
Yeah, so this stalemate that's happening right now in the middle of the field is going to be in VTSwu's favor. Interestingly enough, we don't have VTSwu going for any form of drop in the back of the base or anything while Armin's forces are all out in the middle. Even production buildings are out in the middle. This would be a great time to go for a drop.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that neither player's gone for any drops. They're kind of just both saying, like, alright, we'll siege up our tanks right here, and then we'll build stuff everywhere else.
Yeah.
And you don't drop me, and I won't drop you. Deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. You usually see a lot more medevac drops in this matchup, and I think this is a pretty good map for it as well, so
yeah,
I'm kind of confused.
Alright, and we do have VTSwu bringing 4 medevacs, probably going for more of a doom drop, but this is really going to weaken his army. So if Armin ends up deciding to push out after this drop happens, that could be a really, really bad for VTSwu, even with the drop, unless the drop does an incredible amount of damage.
No, I think this drop is actually really, really good. He's got all these tanks in position here, pretty much where Armin can't really do anything. It's going to be really, really difficult to break all those tanks plus these Vikings. And doing this drop in the back is going to leave Armin completely out of position at his third base.
Yeah, and
at his main. Dropping at his main, too. This is huge. It's going to be doing so much damage to ArminVB right now.
Yeah, we can see this. Like, we do have all these Marines at this third base of Armin, taking out a ton of SCVs, as well as the other 3 medevacs dropping in the main of Armin, just taking out all of these add-ons, doing such a good job. And Armin's not pushing into where VTSwu has this little hold on this ramp.
Yeah, he can't. I mean, he really can't, because those tanks are sieged up. If he tries to move in, his tanks will just get destroyed by those tanks. That's why Terran vs. Terran is such an interesting matchup, because siege tanks are so effective in playing defensive roles. Not quite as much as they were in Broodwar, but they're still very, very strong at it.
Yeah, and now here we go. Armin does have a large Marauder force down here to start try and deal with this drop.
Yep. And we do see 2 tanks coming up here for VTSwu, going to be taking this other place of Armin now as well. Yeah, really nice attacks all over the map from VTSwu here.
Yeah, really good job. Just taking a very, very commanding position, doing a lot of things to get the advantage, and just preventing Armin from being able to push out anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Armin's just being completely outplayed at this point in time as far as positioning goes. He had a good idea, I think, with taking this middle area, securing it. But I think he just needed a couple more sensor towers, say at each of his, especially at the bottom base, because a medevac drop is so obvious to come down that way. If you build a sensor tower, you're going to be really aware and really have an idea of when the drop's coming. So I think had he done that, he would be in a great position right now, because he'd know when medevac drops were coming, and he'd be able to react accordingly. But being blind of a lot of the map here, I mean, he has this middle area, but he has no idea what's coming up from the top or the bottom. Really cost him. Yeah,
you can see that Armin was even slacking a little bit in his orbital command use, as he has a full saturation of mules at his third base right now.
Definitely. He's having to rebuild these factories now after that big drop from VTSwu. So VTSwu is looking really good here. He's got 3,500 minerals and 2,000 gas, but he really can't attack anywhere at this point in the game.
So right now, it seems like he's actually trying to do what Armin did in the last game against you, where it was just get max, stay max, expand, and do as much as you can. And now actually trying to run in with some Marines. I don't know if he's just trying to free up some supply or just try and tank some hits, see what's going on with the army count of Armin. But still,
another drop at the top left.
Yeah, I just saw that too. And we see that siege tank is there, Sim Marines. And now we're going to be able to start taking out these missile turrets that are taking out the medevacs. Oh, is it medevac? Medevac goes down. 2 medevacs go down from missile turrets. But wow, we do have Armin does have a count of marauders down here just trying to help defend his base. But there's one siege tank doing a great job just to take them out, as well as hit the planetary fortress.
Yeah, he's being forced to constantly repair that. Armin's got a nice Viking count at this point compared to what VTSwu has. But, I mean, VTSwu obviously just has a ton of minerals and a ton of gas. And I guess he's really got to start adding a lot more production facilities at this point. He doesn't want to lose his whole army and then not be able to reproduce. What he wants to be able to do is pretty much just lose his army, rebuild instantly, and that's really got to be what his goal here is at this point in the game.
Yeah, that would definitely benefit him greatly.
Yeah.
But now that Armin has such a large Viking he's going to be able to move in, get the vision, and just start out-positioning the tanks. You can see that Swu is just sending in Marines one at a time to their deaths.
Yeah, and here comes a nice attack from Armin here. He knows that Swu has a big investment of units up at the top base, so he's going to be able to counter that with a big investment of his own at the bottom base. This is really nice positioning here from Armin. He's really making a nice comeback here at this point in the game, as although Swu does have a little bit of advantage in how much minerals he has, they're at the same supply now. So he's really cutting that advantage that Swu had down.
Yeah. And you can see that Swu has all of these SCVs just set on auto repair to get this planetary fortress, instead of having half of those guys mining for the minerals on the right side just to keep his income up. He's not mining for that refinery, so being a little bit sloppy in that respect. But he does have a lot of Marines down here just ready to help defend this. But now, Armin is moving in, targeting the SCVs, hitting the planetary fortress. This is actually going to be really, really good for Armin, trying to take out this base.
Yeah, this is really interesting for both players. If we take a look at the income tab, well, I guess VTSwu shot up a little bit, but both players for quite a while were sitting around right around the 500 mark. Now they're both at about 600. Having a 600 income 30 minutes in the game is pretty different. You don't really see that quite often, but both players really doing a lot of harassment to each other.
Yeah, Swu could definitely benefit from lifting up this orbital command and actually lifting it and bringing it down to the mineral only, as he's doing a lot of long distance mining. It may just be that he's valuing getting the gas faster instead of the minerals.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to. Gas is definitely a much more important commodity in almost every matchup than minerals. So, instead of, he's probably just going to wait till the gas runs out at both and then lift them off.
No. Yeah. All right. So, let's see what he decides to do. And we can see that Armin this is actually some really interesting, just basically positioning this entire game. And we can see that Swu is starting to push in the middle. He's got a lot of Marines that are just dealing so much damage per second. We can see that the siege tanks are here, they're sieging up. And actually, this is really, really bad for Armin. Swu was just be able to take out the middle, get the positional advantage. And now Armin's massive Viking fleet is kind of worthless.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused what Armin did at this point. He's thrown up all these starports and he's trying to get to battlecruiser, I guess, but I guess that makes sense because he has this big set of Vikings. But it's really leaving him vulnerable to this push that Swu's doing right now. Yeah,
and Swu's going to be able to get enough Vikings out that battlecruiser is going to be irrelevant when they get kited.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but Swu does have this big Viking count. I mean, Armin does have this big Viking count of his own, so that won't be as much of an issue.
Yeah, it seems that.
But still, I still don't agree with the decision, just simply for the fact that it's leaving him so vulnerable to losing all these bases that he really can't lose. Oh, and he's using quite a few Vikings as well.
Yeah, because battlecruisers are just so expensive. You don't have the income to support them. You'll just get destroyed.
Definitely, and they're so slow. They're not that great on this map just because of the fact that they take forever to get around anywhere.
Yeah. But now, actually, what could happen right now is actually a flank with the Vikings. If he can just land one just to take a lot of the tank hits and sort of just act like a zealot bomb or something. I mean, because right now, Armin has to do something to deal with his ground army of Swu.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be trying to repair that for as long as possible. And he's actually losing his bottom base as well, too. This is really looking really bad for Armin here. Tried to make that battlecruiser switch, and I just don't think that was a good option at all, for sure.
Yeah, we can see that. Are the battlecruisers? Yeah, we do have 5 battlecruisers actually on the field. If he can actually use those effectively, and maybe even surprise Swu with them, they might be able to bring him back into this game. I don't know how likely that will actually be, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for Armin at all. He's got a total of 6 SCVs on the field, and 1 mule, so wow. Completely out of minerals.
Yeah, and you see that Swu is at max, and he's got a lot of money in the bank. He's in a very, very solid spot. You can see that he's now just going to be safe and throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 missile turrets down at the bottom right.
Yeah, this is a really good decision here, throwing up all those missile turrets. He knows battlecruisers are coming. He's switched to a lot of Vikings. He's got 19 Vikings on the field already. What he really needs to do is just attack with his ground army, suicide it, and then remax with Vikings again. And it'll pretty much be GG, because the only thing that's keeping Armin even remotely in this game is this big air force here, and he really needs to get something to deal with that. And these Marines and tanks aren't going to be anything, so suiciding them would be pretty much the best option he could do at this point.
Yeah, we'll see what he does decide to do. If we look at the unit counting station for a second, we see that we have 9 battlecruisers and 17 Vikings going up against 19 Vikings, 61 Marines. So that's actually a fairly healthy amount of AA, not to mention the fact that the bases are fairly well covered with missile turrets.
Yeah, and they are 3-2 Marines, so that's a lot of upgrades on those Marines.
Yeah, and we see that in terms of ground upgrades, Armin is only at 1-1. But if we see air upgrades for a second, we can see that Armin has no air upgrades. And SWU is 2-2 on the air upgrades as well. So SWU is doing so perfectly with his upgrading.
Yeah, being really smart with his upgrading here. That's exactly what he wants. And he has a 2-2 ground as well, so...
Okay, God, this is just not looking good for Armin.
I mean, he has 2-2 tanks as well, so...
Oh my God, you're right. That's insane. So SWU is being...
It's like 2-2, 2-2, and 3-2.
God, and these tanks are now just moving in, and Armin calling down a mule on top of SWU's tanks. They're not in siege mode, though, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, this is a really good decision by SWU here. You know he doesn't need these tanks anymore, so just use them for any damage that you possibly can.
Yeah. He's even microing them to just start taking out buildings and stuff. But yes, now they're actually moving ahead of the battlecruisers. The battlecruisers are not moving fast enough to really get up to these tanks. Now the tanks they have free reign on so many supply depots. Oh, that hurts. You can see that Armin is now supply capped at under 100. Like, this is just the icing on the cake for SWU. This game is done.
Yeah, it's just a matter of Armin losing this big air force and then just leaving. SWU's done really, really well all game at just picking and choosing where he wanted to fight. Doing that early drop in the game really put him pretty far ahead, and he never looked back, to be honest.
Yeah, we can see this, and the battlecruisers do have Yamato cannon, so that might factor in a little bit. Not to mention the fact that they're all at maxed energy. So if that can be controlled well, this actually might be a little dangerous for SWU, but SWU does have the capability just to remake everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3-2 air, 3-2 ground. I don't really see this being effective at all.
And, the battlecruisers are just getting erased.
Battlecruisers are doing really good damage to the Marines, but not too much damage to the Vikings, and that's a good game.
Yeah, very, very
well
solid
played by
game.
SWU.
So well done by both players.